We are The Point, a church that loves God, loves people, and loves life. If you are interested in learning more about us, please go to our website, thepointva.com. Thanks for listening.
Good morning. Good to see you. Welcome especially to our first-time guests. So glad you chose to be here this morning. My name is Nate, and I'm one of the pastors, and we have a very, very exciting morning planned today. We're going to continue in our Why Worry series. We kicked it off last week. If you missed it, make sure you go to thepointva.com to catch yourself up to speed. Next week, we'll be concluding this 3-week series. Today, we're going to be looking at a very, very hot topic, one in which I'm sure all of us can connect to and relate to, worrying about money. And even as I said that M word, money, some of you began worrying about what this morning is going to look like and what's going to be said and how I'm going to feel and so on and so forth. So to put you in a bit of a less guarded position, I'm going to make a bold promise. And here it is. As we teach through and look at money, we have some very creative things planned, and for an incredibly good reason, you're going to remember today. We believe it's going to be this memorable for the rest of your life. That is a huge promise. We're going to deliver on it. We're going to do something this morning I've never heard of another church doing. So super, super excited about today. So to begin with, I don't know about you, but I have definitely worried quite a bit about money. During my early 20s, many bad decisions, had some outstanding debts going to collections, and now I was receiving phone calls from bill collectors, full-time paid harassers to remind you of debts that you need to pay. I get it. I was due that. But regardless, it was a very stressful season. Had a lot to worry about. How many of you would join me in saying you have worried about money? Raise your hand. Yeah, all over the room. All over the room. I believe we're all in the same boat. Oftentimes, it's the leading survey response for what's causing us the greatest amount of stress and worry. So, with that in mind, here's what we're going to do for the morning. We're going to address 2 questions. First of all, what causes us to worry? Why do we worry? What's the foundational reason? And then number 2, what can we do to eliminate financial stress and worry? So to set up the answer to those 2 questions, we're going to look at our passage for the morning, Matthew chapter 6. And we're going to begin with verse 27, or verse 24, rather. This is Jesus speaking, and he says, "No one can serve 2 masters, for he will either hate one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." We begin with a reminder of God's identity. What do we learn about who God is through that verse? What is it? God is master. That word master can also be translated as Lord. God is the Lord. It can also be translated as owner. He is the owner. This is not a role of God's that can be shared or divided. God claims exclusive ownership over his people. Now, sometimes we can incorrectly believe that this is a role of God that can be sinned away. So as I kind of go through a bad season, he ceases from being Lord of my life. While we may stop acting as though God is Lord, he never ceases from owning that title. He is and he will be owner of our lives. Nowhere in Scripture is the Christian commanded to make Jesus Lord of their lives after salvation. We see this demonstrated in John 13:13. It's an exchange between Christ and his disciples. It's moments before they're going to deny even knowing him. And Jesus says this in verse 13. He says, "You call me master, you call me Lord. That is correct, for I am that. Even though you're about ready to completely disown me." If perfect obedience were required for God to retain lordship, then he would be Lord of no one. But it is a fact and the reality that he is Lord, he is owner, he is master, that gives him the right to to have us obey him and to follow him. This is the way we should go, and it renders our disobedience to him a big deal. So here's our first takeaway from that verse. It's a reminder to Christians that God's role is owner. No one and nothing else. So, to go to our first question, what causes us to worry about money? First of all, we live as though God is not the owner. Simply put, we live as though God is not the owner. Going back to that verse, here's our second takeaway from that verse. The single greatest thing that will compete against my heart's agreement that God is the owner, that he's Lord, that he's master, is what? It is money. Right? No, it's not money. You see, the dollar bill is amoral. It's neither good nor evil. It can do great harm. It can do great good. Here is the single thing, listen to me, here's the single thing that will compete against our heart's agreement that God is owner. It is the love of money. I want some more money. Or the love of possessions. I want some shinier cars and some newer houses, and I need some more stuff. It's the love of this stuff. It's the dissatisfaction that drums up in our hearts when we believe we don't have enough stuff. We're discontent. Or we begin to fight tooth and nail to hold on to what we have and put a hedge and a wall around it. We don't live out generosity as God has called us to. We begin to hoard. It is the love of money. What causes us to worry about money? This is not a hard question to answer. First of all, we live as though God is not the owner. And secondly, simply put again, we choose to love money. We love it because we think it'll bring us certain things. We think it'll bring us security and happiness and greater value. The more money I have, the more value that I have. Friend, money will never, ever do that. It is God and him alone where you can find your value, your worth. He is the one that will provide security. He is the one that will give you what you need. And if you think money's going to do that for you, you have a lot of worrying to do. Fortunately, there's another path. There's another way. Let's go back to our text for the morning. Matthew 6, 25 through 32. For this reason, I say to you, this is Jesus continuing to speak. He says, do not be worried about this life, about your life, as to what you will eat and drink, nor for your body as to what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow, nor do they reap or gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father, he feeds them. Are you not worth much more than they? And who of you, by being worried, can add a single hour to his life? And why are you worried about clothing? Observe how the lilies of the field grow. They do not toil, nor do they spin. Yet I say to you that not even Solomon in all his glory clothed himself like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown into the furnace, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? There's the key word in the passage. Circle that word. Faith. Faith. You of little faith. Verse 31, do not worry then, saying, what will we eat, drink, or wear for clothing? For the Gentiles eagerly seek all these things. For your heavenly Father, he knows, God knows, that you need these things. In this passage, we learn that not only is God creator, he spoke it all into existence, but he is also the sustainer of that which he has created. God does not divorce himself from the created world. He's active and he's involved in sustaining it. But, as verse 30 points out, it takes faith. Faith always has to be an active ingredient. What is faith? You can write this down. Faith is complete confidence, 100% confidence in God's provision, in the provision of God. Faith is complete confidence, just as confident as I am. As I stand on the stage and know that's going to hold up my weight, I trust completely in it. Faith It is complete confidence in the provision of God. Let's finish up with this passage. Matthew 6:33, maybe a verse you're familiar with. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and then all these things will be added to you. What causes us to worry? Simply put, we love money, we live as though we love money, and we lack the faith to live as though God is the owner, he is the provider, he is our master. We lack that faith. So, that's the temptation, that's the pull. What do we do about this? Our second question, how do we rid ourselves of the financial stress and worries that so easily can consume us? Here's what we're going to do for the rest of the morning. I'm going to give you a very practical 3-step solution, application point for how to rid yourself of financial stress. And we're going to do that by looking at and continuing to study verse 33 and a few other verses. Now, oftentimes Jesus spoke in parables. He would utilize an object to help him drive home a point. When you came in this morning, you should have received an envelope. And when we're going to pull this out, do not open it up yet, though. We need every single person in this room to have an envelope. If you do not have an envelope, please raise your hand. Our ushers will come and get you an envelope. Now, this envelope and the contents within are going to help me drive home our point for the morning. What is the point? Here it is. God owns it all. God owns it all. It takes faith to believe this. It takes faith to live this out. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that point. I want you to write it on the front side of your envelope. God owns it all. God owns it all. Psalm 24, verse 1. As you're writing that on the front side of your envelope, what does Psalm 24:1 say? The earth is the Lord's and all it contains, the world and those who dwell in it. The earth is the Lord's and all it contains. I want you to turn to your neighbor right now and tell him the seat you are sitting in is the Lord's and all it contains. Go. All right. Turn to your other neighbor. Pick up your envelope and tell him, this envelope is the Lord's and all it contains. Go. All right, once you do that, very, very carefully, because there's some loose items in here, very carefully, I want you to open up the envelope, pull out the contents. Please don't drop it. There's some loose items in there. Like I just dropped. How many of you gotten paid to go to church before? Yeah. $10 for those of you joining us online. We would have loved for you to be here. I think if you live in the Charlottesville area, we have given you an incredibly compelling reason. Please come and join us. You never know what we may have up our sleeves. You just got paid to go to church. You should have, count it, $10 total, $8 in bills, one $5 bill, 3 $1 bills, and 2 $1 coins, a gold one and a silver one. Make sure that's what you have. If you do not have that, raise your hand and our ushers will trade envelopes with you. Once you count your money, put it back in your envelope. Now, this money represents your next paycheck. It's not your next paycheck. It represents your next paycheck. Now, whose does it belong to? Absolutely. It's God's. You see, a funny thing happens. When money populates into our bank account and we get paid, what do we think? We think, mine, right? That's so natural. I'm tempted with that as well. We think, mine. The reality is, before the money was in my bank account, after it came into my bank account, it was God's, it still is God's. It is his. The earth is the Lord's and all it contains. So here's what we're going to do for the rest of the morning. I'm going to give you a 3-step application point for how to best manage your money. And as you do that, you're going to find stress and worry released and alleviated. So here's step 1. Return 10% first. Return 10% first. Let's look back at our verse, Matthew 6:33. What does it say? Seek what? Seek what? First. Yes. Circle that word. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Understand this. The pathway to alleviating financial stress, there's an order to things. Seek first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added unto you. The most significant part of the tithe is that it is first. Here's what I want you to do. Take your envelope out, and I want you to pull out the gold coin. Gold being first. If I'm an Olympian and I get first place in my sport, I get a gold medal. Pull out the gold dollar. This represents your tithe, 10%, $1, 10% of $10. The most significant part of the tithe is not that it's simply 10%, but that it is the first 10%. Here's what the wisest man had to say about this dollar. Listen to me. Solomon, Proverbs 3, 9 and 10. Honor the Lord from your wealth, from the first, key word, there's an order, from the first of all your produce. So your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will overflow with new wine. God did not tell the Israelites to go into the promised land and to simply give him one city. He told them, I want all the gold and I want all the silver from Jericho. Why Jericho? Because it was city number 1. And then God promised that as they did that, he would bless and he would redeem the rest. Abraham had 10 sons. God said, give me a son. He wanted Isaac. Why Isaac? Because he was the first one. It takes faith. Here's our key word, faith. Listen to me. Faith. It takes faith to give the first one. Always. It takes faith to give the first one. God accepted Abel's offering and not Cain's. Why? Because Cain brought the first fruits. Abel brought his offering in the due process of time. As we do this, God promises that he will redeem and bless the rest. And as we look at the New Testament, in Matthew 23:23, Jesus affirms the tithe. He says this should be done. And as we compare law against grace, sometimes the temptation is to leverage what's called grace giving, meaning that I am going to give what I can afford and God understands. Very, very tempting to fall into the grace-giving category. I understand. Let me break this down for just a moment. First of all, if you are waiting to feel like you can afford to tithe, understand that there is no one that feels like they can afford to tithe. That is the point. If you felt like you could afford to tithe, where is the faith? You have little faith. It takes faith. Secondly, let me further explain grace. Grace is always more. It's never less. The law, listen to me, this is really powerful. The law said forgive 7 times. Grace said forgive unlimited times. Grace is more. The law said don't commit adultery. Grace said if I even think lustfully about a woman, I've committed adultery. God sees it as the same. Grace said an animal was sufficient for the atonement of sins. Fast forward to the New Testament. That's not enough. Grace said it's going to take God's Son to atone for the sins of the world. Grace is always more. It's never less. Let's get to the bottom line. Here's what it's always about. It's about faith. It always has been. It always will be about faith. My question to you is, do you trust your owner, your master, your provider? This is how you do it. This is how you alleviate yourself from financial stress. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to set this aside. You cannot put it back in your envelope. Don't put it in your wallet. I want you to put it in your pocket, perhaps, somewhere where you can pull it out a little bit later on. Step 2, save 10% second. There's an order to this. If I'm in the Olympics and I come in second place in my sport, what color is my medal? Silver. Pull out your silver dollar. This is the second thing you should do. 10% is a great goal. Here's what I want you to do with this dollar. This is a dollar, not a quarter. Here's what I want you to do with this dollar. I want you to place this somewhere where you will see it frequently, perhaps in the top drawer of your desk. Maybe you have a coin cup next to your on your nightstand. Maybe you collect coins in your car. Place it somewhere where you're going to frequently see it. And every time you look at it, I want you to think of these 2 verses from the wisest man to live. Here's what he had to say. Solomon said in Proverbs 21:20, there's precious treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise. But a foolish man, he's going to consume, and leave nothing left. Proverbs 13:22 says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Now, one thing that's kept me disciplined to save what I know I should is that I make it automatic. After I tithe and before my expenses start to occur, I have the money I need to save automatically withdrawn, deposited into a money market account or retirement, whatever is right. But the point being, don't trust your willpower to do this. A wise step is to have this automatically done. Step 3, live on 80% last. Now, the remaining portion of the money in your envelope, go ahead and take out. It's $8, 80%. Now, this represents how God is going to meet the remaining portion of your needs. Look back to Matthew 6:33. What does it say? It says, seek first, there's an order, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then all these things. What are all those things? They were the things that they worried about, the clothes, the food. God knows you need these things. God will use the 80% to meet the remaining portion of your needs. Here's what I want you to do. Put these $8 in your wallet right now. And what we want to do is we want to challenge you, invite you to go out to lunch sometime this week. Lunch is on us. Get a salad, get a soup, sandwich, whatever you so choose. And then we're going to challenge you to do a reverse tip. As opposed to tipping 20%, tip 80%. And then we also left an invitation card in there as well. We think it would be a great idea to invite that person to church while you're doing that. So put that money in your envelope, and that's your challenge for this week coming up. Now, there's one more thing I want you to see about this 80%. Sometimes God sends some special giving opportunities to us. We hear of someone that's going on a missions trip, and we should support. We hear of a single mom who needs help buying groceries. Yeah, you better step up and assist. We hear of our child's Christian schools doing a fundraiser, or someone's having a difficult time paying a medical bill. We better step up and assist. But listen to me, this is important. These gifts come from this 80%. Malachi 3:10 tells us, this is God speaking, not me. God says the whole tithe is to be brought to the house of the Lord. These giving opportunities get taken from this 80%. Now, we're going to do something incredibly fun to help drive home this point. You're going to walk out here saying, wow, that was powerful. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to imagine in this room that there are a lot of giving opportunities and needs, and you are going to go meet them. You're going to meet these needs. So, I want you to take your wallets back out. Leave the $5 in your wallet. You're now just getting a smaller salad for lunch. Stay on budget. Pull out the $3. Everyone has your $3 in your hands. You're going to meet some needs in this room. You're going to stand up and mingle and do this for 1 minute. And here are the rules. First of all, you cannot turn down a gift. If I give you some money, you can't say no thank you. You have to receive all gifts given to you. Rule number 2, you cannot simply trade gifts. If I'm given a gift, I can't just hand it right back to you. You cannot trade gifts. Rule number 3, you choose the amount you give. Everyone's starting with $3, so you have 3 options. You can give $1, you can give $2, you can give $3. In the process of time, you're going to have different options. You choose the amount. Okay? So you cannot turn down a gift, you cannot trade gifts, and you choose the gift amount. Everyone ready? Stand up. Let me see your $3 holding up high. There we go. All right, you've got 60 seconds. Go give out some money and meet some needs. Go. All right, you got 10 more seconds. Quickly, give out your money. Meet those needs. Five seconds left. Slowly make your way back to your seats. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're done. Go ahead and go back to your seats. You can have a seat. Now, wasn't that fun? How many had fun? Yeah, I think so. Some of you never thought you could laugh and smile so much during a financial message. We had fun. This is neat. How many of you during the course of that 1 minute had at least at one point more than you started with? More than $3? Raise your hand. All across the room. Listen to me. As you meet the needs of others, God will use others to help meet your needs. There's no mathematical way to add this up. As you do what God has asked us to do, He promises that He will bless and He will redeem the rest. God's got this. It takes faith. It always takes faith. Now, one final critical question. This series is about worry and about stress, specific to money this morning. Why were you not worried? Why were you not stressed when I said, take out your wallet and pull out some money and help meet some needs? You say, that's easy. It wasn't my money. Bingo. You got it. It's not your money. Listen, some of you just saved 10% of any income you've ever brought in during your entire life. For the first time, you didn't bat an eye. You weren't stressed or worried about it. And you say, and I ask you, why? Why were you not worried? You say, well, we did it in the right order, and it wasn't mine. Yes. This is powerful. The light's turning on for some of you right now. When I said, set aside the first 10%, you didn't stress about it because it didn't belong to you. Matter of fact, you thought that was a pretty good deal. I get $10, I keep 9, return 1, I'll do that all day. Now, look at your envelope again and tell me what it says. Nice and loud. What does your envelope say? Yes. God owns it all. Amen. You see, this is not only true of the money in that envelope. This is true of the money in your bank account. This is true of the money in your retirement. This is true of your next paycheck. God owns it all. And when you can latch onto this, you will find that the release that happens in your heart is so sweet. So sweet. Lastly, we did not touch on debt this morning, but if you're struggling with paying down debt, we want to be able to give you some biblical coaching on how to knock that out. In just a few weeks, we're going to be launching a Financial Peace University class. If you want some assistance with that, email me, nate@thepointva.com, and I will give you more information about that upcoming class. Finally, it is response time. Everyone pull out your $1 gold coin, your gold dollar. We're going to end this service by singing a song to God. And as we do so, all across the room, your opportunity is to come forward and to tithe. And as we do this, whether this is the first time you've ever done it, whether you've been doing this for a while, as you do this, understand what you are declaring. You are declaring God as the owner, as the master, as your provider. Amen. Stand with me as we pray. God, thank you so much that we can call you master. We can call you owner. God, that you have not divorced yourself from the created, but God, you are the sustainer of all things. And God, that as Psalms 24:1 reminds us that the earth is yours and all it contains. And we continually live as though that is true. God, we worship you as we give back to you and declare you as the one who is the owner of our lives. Thank you so much for Jesus Christ, who came, gave his life for us, died a death he did not deserve, that we can have eternal life through Jesus Christ and him alone. In Jesus' name we pray.